In a quiet village nestled between two great mountains, where time moved just a little slower and the stars shone a little brighter, lived an old clockmaker named Elian. He wasn't rich, nor was he famous. But people came from far and wide just to see his clocks, grandfather clocks, pocket watches, sundials that whispered time instead of shouting it. Elian had a peculiar habit. Every customer who entered his shop was asked a question before they could buy anything. He would lean across the polished oak counter, his eyes sharp but kind, and ask, "Are you living to the fullest extent possible?" Most would laugh, unsure how to respond. Some would say, of course, others would hesitate, and a few would frown as if he had asked something far too personal. But Elian always listened. Sometimes he'd nod, sometimes he'd simply smile and hand them the clock they wanted. One rainy afternoon, a girl named Mira stumbled into the shop. She was no older than 17, soaked to the bone and carrying nothing but a backpack and a broken wristwatch. The shop smelled of cedar and cinnamon, and for the first time in days, she felt warmth. Elian, peering over his glasses, looked up from his workbench. "Trouble with time?" he asked, gesturing to her watch. "I think time has trouble with me," she muttered, handing it over. Elian chuckled, inspected it briefly, then, as always, leaned in. "Before I fix it, I must ask, are you living to the fullest extent possible?" Mira blinked. "What kind of question is that?" "The only one that matters," he replied. Mira sat down, shivering. "What does living to the fullest even mean?" "I left home 2 weeks ago. My parents want me to be a doctor. I want to be a painter. I don't even know who I am yet. How could I know if I'm living fully?" Elian set the watch aside and stood slowly. "Let me tell you a story. There once was a young man named Corwin, born with everything, a wealthy family, charm, intelligence. But Corwin was obsessed with the idea of potential. He believed every minute wasted was a sin, every missed opportunity a crime. So he made a list. At age 10, he vowed to become a concert pianist, a best-selling author, a world-class athlete, a scholar, a lover, a father, a millionaire before 30. He chased every dream like a starving man chases bread. By 29, he had done nearly all of it. Gold medals, book signings, love affairs that burned and vanished like comets. But one evening, as he sat alone in a hotel penthouse in Paris, watching the Eiffel Tower blink in the distance, he felt hollow. He realized he had spent so long doing, he had never learned how to be. So he climbed to the roof, screamed into the night, and disappeared from the world. Mira raised an eyebrow. "Is that a true story?" Elian smiled. "Every story is true in some way. You just have to listen closely." She leaned forward. "So what happened to Corwin?" "No one knows," said Elian. "But people say he lives among mountain monks, learning how to boil tea properly and count the stars without naming them." As Mira giggled, the door creaked open again, and a man in his 40s entered. He wore a suit so sharp it looked like it could cut glass. He tapped his Rolex impatiently. "I need a gift. Something impressive." Elian raised an eyebrow. "Of course. But first, are you living to the fullest extent possible?" The man scoffed. "I make 7 figures, drive a car that costs more than most houses, and have a trophy wife. What do you think?" Elian nodded thoughtfully. "I think you didn't answer the question." The man frowned, suddenly uncomfortable. "Just give me the best clock you have." Elian walked to the back and returned with a curious object. It wasn't gold or jeweled, but made of simple wood, etched with intricate carvings of people dancing, weeping, laughing. The hands ticked softly, almost like a heartbeat. "This is the soul keeper. It doesn't tell time, it tells life." The man rolled his eyes. "Fine, wrap it up." As he paid and turned to leave, Elian called out, "Remember, just because you're moving fast doesn't mean you're going far." When the door shut, Mira sat stunned. "Do people get angry when you ask them that question?" Elian nodded. "Sometimes, because deep down, many people feel they aren't, but they don't know what's missing." She looked down. "What if I don't know what I want yet?" "That," said Elian gently, "is the start of living fully. Not pretending, not rushing, just being honest with yourself." He fixed her watch and handed it back. "It works now. But remember, time isn't just something you spend. It's something you shape." Years passed. Mira grew into an artist of great renown, known for her paintings that made people cry without knowing why. And in every gallery she opened, in every city she visited, There was a small plaque at the entrance with a single question. Are you living to the fullest extent possible? People would pause, some walking in, others turning away, unsure. Back in the village, Elian grew older, his hands a little shakier, but his question never changed. And sometimes, on quiet nights, Mira would return, sit by the fire, and together they would sip tea and listen to the clocks ticking in rhythm with the stars. Moral of the story: living to the fullest isn't about how much you do, it's about how honestly you live. It's not the speed of life, but the depth. Most people rush through their days without ever asking if those days feel real, if they align with what they truly want. Sometimes the hardest thing is admitting that the life you have might not be the life you need, and that it's okay to start again, one tick at a time. So the next time you check the time, ask yourself, am I shaping this moment or just watching it pass? And maybe, just maybe, you'll live a little fuller.